Welcome back to What Arty Noobs for General Disturbance. This is a Crusader 5.5-inch SP. It's the Tier 7 British SPG, located on the north spawn of Serene Coast under the command of zin1983. Now this is the Arty that drives backwards. Yes, it really does. You have to drive in reverse if you want to make this thing work. It's got the same 4.5-inch howitzer you find on the FP304 and on the Bishop, which means it's got a relatively short range, but it does have very good punch. For 450 alpha, penetrating 28mm of armor, and the standard reload is 11.51 seconds, but you can see that Zin's got that down to 9.96. So it's very accurate, very quick to reload, and it's got a very high trajectory. Okay, first enemy coming to sight. It's an AMX 1375, our Panzer 58 Mutz going in for a ram. Oh, he gets a big ram, knocks a huge amount of hit points off that AMX, and oh! Zin annihilates him with one direct hit and takes him out of the game. So his game experience was rather short. But there is another enemy coming in. It's an EBR Hotchkiss. I think the Panzer Acton Fumpsieg, I should say, didn't survive very long. And that shell just hit the wreck of the AMX 1375s. Saves the EBR from being wiped out. No, he anticipated he would actually go around the rock, and I think he came the other side. Now, you do have to relocate on a regular basis in this Arty, and the main reason is that if you don't, then the enemy tanks might find you, and if they do, they could be rather damaging. He's changing position because he's noticed there's some enemy tanks actually down in the dip. He can't quite reach right over to the far west side of the map, but he can certainly hit this G-Saw, who's had the temerity to come through the dip and try and get shots on our teammates. Our EBR's tried to harass him at the moment. Rounds out. Direct hit on the G-Saw for 156. Unfortunately, the Hotchkiss goes down to the G-Saw's autoloader, but he is now going to take... Oh, he took a big hit there. And in fact, actually, it was the Charioteer that got the kill in the end. Now, Zin's changing position. Uh-oh, and you just noticed there's an enemy coming in behind him. Yep, an EBR, the same EBR we saw on the peninsula, came in from the other direction, and he did try to get a shotgun off, but he couldn't get it in time. Slight delay, but it looks like the Hotchkiss is coming back, and that's a bad move. Because then he's ready the next time, and he blasts him in the side with a 4.5-inch, and that's the end of his game. So his gaming experience was equally short. Now, Zin looks like he's going to go and try and attack the enemy tanks over on the peninsula. I think he's just writing a message in chat. Okay, next target is an Alpine Tiger, which as we know is a Wizzy 111. So it's the Chinese version of the IS-3. The SU-101 that's behind him is just too far away for us to get a shot on him, so we're going to have to change position. And we're meeting a Super Hellcat coming the opposite way. Okay, so he's turned around so he can actually move forward, but he's a very slow tank when he's moving forward. But look at this, he's got a T-25-2 with a stock turret. Oh, he whacks him for 234 hit points. And now he's going back to the others. Oh, no, he's changed his mind. Likes the T-25-2. Just misses him. I think one of the reasons why Arty players love open-top tank destroyers is that they are so vulnerable to Arty shells if the shell lands in the cockpit. SU-101 takes a direct hit for 97. You can see it landed on the engine deck, and both his tracks have gone. We'll go for another shot. Rounds out. Well, he fixes his track, but the next shot does 211 hit points and another 2 critical hits, and those are probably internal ones. He fires another round in. This one, yeah, hits the Wizzy. So the Alpine Tiger takes a round directly on the side of the turret. And I think that SU-101 is about to die. No, not quite. 83 hit points, so he's got another shot in him. But Zin's reloading as fast as he can. Rounds out. Here we go. Yep, got the kill. So 3 kills now for zin1983. Can be very effective with this Arty. It's so accurate. Okay, the Alpine Tiger got hit there, but he's down to a 1 shot. Rounds out. Here we go. Oh, so close to a kill. Unfortunately, it's the Caro that gets the kill instead. But Zin's off to the races, driving in reverse. It can be very difficult to do that. Once you get to understand which controls do which, then you can drive about fairly easily. And surprisingly, a lot of people don't realize this, you can shoot at enemy tanks that are chasing you. If they do decide to chase you, it's a very bad move. You just auto lock onto them and then shoot at them as you're on the move. And I've actually taken out enemy tanks that were chasing after me and blown them away with 1 shot. And it's so funny to see their faces, well, at least to see the enemy tanks blow up as you're driving in the opposite direction. Well, he's decided to turn around and move forwards very, very slowly, because of course this is the reverse mode when you're driving forward like this. It is basically a Crusader tank that's been turned the other way around, so the rear of the Crusader is actually at the front, and the howitzer is where the turret would normally be. This was an Arty that was proposed, and they did think about building it, but they never went ahead. I've seen pictures of the mock-up or the prototype, but didn't get put into production. Now we've got an enemy tank coming in, a Lorraine 40-ton tank. Well, that's another tank that didn't get put into production, but they did build a prototype. Unfortunately, he goes down to the Viperis, so Zin doesn't get a chance to take him out. But there's only 5 enemies left. We're 2 up on the enemy at the moment, so it looks like most of the enemy tanks are on the west side of the map. There's a good possibility that some of the enemy tanks are over this side, defending against tanks coming in over the peninsula. The Super Hellcat's been seen over the other side of the lake. Probably just outside range, yes. You can tell that because the reticule's flattened. When the reticule gets flat, that means that he's outside range. Oh! Yep, Zin sometimes doesn't drive it absolutely perfect. None of us do, really. It just takes a lot of while to get used to driving it in reverse. And sometimes when you're driving away, this thing can be a bit of a pig to steer. Well, he's driven up onto the rock again. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's very, very difficult to drive indeed. If you can drive it well, then great, but not everybody's got that skill. I admit that I certainly don't have that skill. Now, a Borsig has decided to try and infiltrate our cap by the back way. So he's come in from the west side of the map and he's hugging the north end. We can't see him at the moment, but I suspect he's actually hunting Arty and suddenly realised that no Arty around. Okay, so he's there. He's been spotted. He's under fire. Rounds out. This could be a kill shot. Well, it was a critical hit, so it was a direct hit on the target, but it didn't penetrate, which is surprising because the Borsig is an open-top vehicle. That was a near miss. Now he's waiting for it to come spotted again. He could try a few blind shots. That's what he's going to do. Meanwhile, our friendly Arty, the M40, is running down to the other end of the peninsula to avoid being taken out by that Borsig if he gets spotted. Well, we're firing blind shots now in because until we get somebody to spot for us, that's all we can do. The enemy team doesn't have anything other than tank destroyers and SPGs now, and the Borsig takes care of our 252U very quickly. The Zin takes care of him with his next shot. Yeah, the moment he revealed himself, he was just allowing Zin to dial in on his position. Okay, so Zin's killed the Borsig, and that means now there's only one tank destroyer left. It's the Super Hellcat on the enemy team. And he just got wiped out by our... Or did... No, it was our Super Hellcat that got wiped out by their FB207. They've got two Arty, the M12 and the FB207. Now, there's only 3 left on either team. I think Zin's decided it's probably better for them to defend their cap rather than to try and go down the other end and hunt for the enemy. One of the reasons for that is the fact that the Super Hellcat actually does have quite a lot of health. You can see that there was Arty fire coming in on our cap area. Now that might be because that's the M12 or the FB207 firing in this direction. It looks to me though that what actually Zin is doing is he's actually being very brave, and he's going in to try and defend the cap area against anyone who decides to come into the cap. It also means that he can spot for the M40, M43, who's only a short distance away. So he's hoping and praying that the M40, M43 player, who does have a kill, will be on the ball, and the moment that Zin spots the target, he'll be able to assist. But of course, Zin can use his 4.5-inch howitzer. The Viperas come back to the cap, and we're anticipating the enemy coming in from this direction. You notice you get that little reticule drift. There's the Super Hellcat. Okay, the Viperas spotted him. Now we can't get the gun to bear at the moment because he's just around the other side of the rock. But he's coming round, and he has suffered damage from our Vipera. And now we can go for the kill. There he is, auto aim on. Oh, he didn't even need that. He just shotgunned him at close range, and he's out the game. And that means now there's only 2 Arty on the enemy team left. And he's turned around so he can move quickly. And now he's going to go Arty hunting. Now I'm wondering if Zin's actually going to stay around, or he has got a fairly good top speed, 43.5 or 48.5 kilometers an hour maximum speed in reverse. 14 is the forward speed. It's not very fast in reverse, of course, but that is because the vehicle is turned around. But I think what he could do, you see, is he could actually drive ahead, find out where the Arties are, and as soon as he does spot them, drive past them, and then shoot at them in the rear as he's departing the area. It does make you vulnerable as you're approaching the enemy Arty. Now, the FB207 is based on the Centurion, and the M12 is based on the M3. They're fairly slow Arties, they're not particularly quick. The view range for this Arty is 275 meters. And he's found the FB207. Oh, he did get hit, but not killed. And now the FB207 is going to be in reload, and he's going to take a hit. Well, he does get a hit, but now he has to retreat. You have to pull back. You can't just stay here. But he's staying here. Oh, he's going in for the ram. Is he? No, he's going in for a shotgun. And the FB207 mucked up his shotgun. And the Vipera comes in for the kill. Or is he going to let... No, he's not going to let Zin take that kill. But that was pretty courageous. But unfortunately, we lose the Vipera to the M12. But it means now the enemy's only got that M12 left, and we've got 20 seconds left in the game. And we know where he is because we can see him. Now it's up to the M43 to get the kill shot. He does! He gets the kill shot that wins the game. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was an ace tanker game for zin1983 in the Crusader SP. He managed to get a fighter badge for taking out at least 4 enemy tanks. In fact, he got 5 in the end, 1 short of getting a top gun and 1/3 of the enemy team. And he got a bruiser medal as well for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 13. And his win rate was 5,030, which is super unicum and a bit more. Let's have a look at team score. Well, we can see that he actually got the second highest damage in the game. The Vipera scored 3,053 hit points, but he got wiped out right at the end by that M12 whilst he was helping to kill the FV207. Zin managed to get 1,986 in second place, and in third place we got the E25 on our team with 1,982. When it came to kills, though, it was definitely Zin with 5 kills. 3 kills went to the Vipera, 2 kills went to the M40, M43, and also to the Super Hellcat FV207 and Borsig on the enemy team. When it came to base XP, it was the Vipera that came out on top with 1,090, with Zin coming in second place with 1,056. They were the only 2 players to get over 1,000 base, and in third place we got the Caro P88 with 838. He fired 28 rounds in that game, and 14 direct hits on the enemy, 1 penetrating shot. I'd love to know which one he actually did penetrate in that one. Just looking down the list to see which one it might have been. T25? No. What about the... Oh, it was the AMX 1375. First shot of the game was a penetrating shot for 152 hit points. Went right through him and wiped him out completely. He also got 18 splashes, damage of 1,986, of which 1,455 were at more than 300 meters. So the close range shots were on the FV207 at very close range. He did receive a hit. It was a non-penetrating shot and also a hit by way of splash damage. The non-penetrating shot from the EBR Hotchkiss, who tried to assassinate him in the cap area. But no, he wasn't having any of that. And when the EBR came back for a second run, which was a huge mistake, happens many times, you come back for a second bite of the cherry, and that's when you get wiped out. And he did get wiped out by a shotgun at close range. 110 hit points of damage blocked by armor, 1 enemy vehicle spotted, 9 enemy vehicles damaged, 5 killed, and 131 hit points of damage assistance. Now, on a free-to-play account, he earned 8,000, or actually suffered a loss of 8,693 credits, and that was mainly down to the fact that he did use premium consumables. Plus, of course, he didn't get a huge amount of damage in a Tier 8 game, because, of course, he was a short-range Arty. But, nevertheless, he did get a nice base XP out of it, 1,056 in total. So, an ace tanker on his first game, but Zin has sent him more than 1 replay. This is another battle that he played a few days later. The second replay is on the southwest corner of the highway map.
Time to roll out.
Now, this map does present a bit of a problem for Zin because, of course, he's got a short-range Arty, which means he has to get fairly close to the enemy if he wants to get shots on them. Now you can see that Crusader hull. It's been reversed. It's now driving as if the front was towards the enemy. It's actually driving in reverse on the controls with the engine at the rear. Now, this is a good thing about actually being on this side of the map rather than going north and trying to take on the enemy medium tanks. That's because there are plenty of places here that you can actually hide behind faults in the ground, undulations, and shoot at the enemy without them being able to see where you are. Looks to me like Zin's getting very close to the town. In fact, he's actually giving the Caro a bit of a shove, a bit of help. Okay, he's parked up right against the edge of the battlefield. No enemy tanks in sight yet on this side of the town. There is a T-34-3 over by the river. Now he's going to be a bit concerned because if he drives too close, that T-34-3 might get spotted. There's a few knocked over trees here, and an enemy Panther has turned up in the town centre, and he's gone to the aim. In fact, what he's aiming for is the spotting bushes near the bridge. It's nearly almost a tank destroyer or a light tank will go into those bushes. Fired another one. There you go. Doing a bit of forestry work at the moment, but there's always a possibility there might be a light tank or a medium tank or even a tank destroyer hiding in those bushes trying to shoot at our teammates. Okay. I think he's now decided that he wants to go after the enemy tanks in the town, and we're seeing a Panther hiding behind a railway carriage. This is a tier 8 game with tier 6 tanks in it. His first shot goes a bit long over the other side of the Panther. So there's not much splash with these shells. The burst radius is only 2.2 meters, so you have to get very close to get some splash damage, but it is possible. Fires another one in. Oh, this time around he gets a kill shot on the Panther. So he's out the game. And he's got his first kill. Now the enemy did lose that T-34-3, so that's good news. That means we can move towards the enemy cap area without getting spotted. But there is a super chappie somewhere in the field. Again, he's trying to fire at the bushes just in case there's somebody hiding behind them. He has plenty of ammunition. You get 75 rounds with the stock gun. Fires another one in just behind the bridge. But he's now spotted an enemy tank, a T-29. He needs to get some rounds into that guy. Oh dear, we've got problems back at the cap area. An enemy setter has suddenly appeared and he's threatening our M44. Okay, from this position, Zin can get shots on that T-29. Just letting it dial in. He's ready to go. Rounds out. Shell does hit, but I think it hit the tracks, so that's why it didn't do any other damage. Just trying to get another shot on the T-29, but he actually dies to our setter. Meanwhile, the enemy setter has killed our M44 back at our cap, and now Zin's trying to get as close as he can to the enemy cap. Only trouble is, the enemy team does have a one tank advantage at the moment, and they've got quite a few tank destroyers as well. Have you noticed that there's only one one light tank, which is the setter, and one Arty, which is a Hummel, and he's just been wiped out. So they've lost their advantage temporarily. Now Zin ought to get the other side of the railway tracks, and that's it, down into the dip, because if there are enemy tank destroyers around and they get to see him, they'll come after him. That's better. Well, we've got a CS-52 Liz coming in from the field. If the enemy tank destroyers are nearby, he should be able to spot them. In fact, they are, because our Crusader just got hit by somebody. In fact, there's a G-Saw and a T-25-2. Don't get too close. Zin's getting very close, too close to the enemy. And I think he suddenly realized that, and he's having to dip down to try and get into safety. Okay, T-25-2. Rounds out. First shot hits him on the engine deck for 121. Tracks him. Can he get another shot in before? No, he can't, because he's fixed his tracks and he's on the move. Fires another one in. Doesn't get a hit with that either. We've now got a G-Row near the cap area. He fires. Does he fly blind? No, he's trying to go after the T-25-2. Just wiped out our CS-52. And now we've got enemy tanks nearby. The setter is turned up, and we've got a Hellcat coming directly for us. Here he comes, the shotgun. Well, he does get a shotgun into the Hellcat, but he's now taking fire from the setter. So he's going to try and blast another one in. The Hellcat's trying to take on our Chrysler, and one shot from Zin takes out the Hellcat by firing into his side and penetrating him. Okay, so he's going for this setter, who's hiding the other side of that wreck. Well, that's a nice hit. In fact, that's a penetrating shot for 488. That's a high roll. Can you get another one in? Fires the round in. Unfortunately, he doesn't seem to get a hit with that one. And here comes the Giro trying to get a shot at this as well. He's aiming towards the Chrysler at the moment. One shot goes into him for 191. We took another round from the setter. And now the Giro's hit us in the tracks. Can we get a kill shot? No, because the Chrysler gets the kill shot. Okay, so he's aiming towards the setter again. There he is. We can just see where he was. He's dialing in on that spot. Rounds out. Oh, we got him!
Enemy armor is destroyed.
Blind kill. Okay, so there's only two left on the enemy team. A Shrek and a T-25-2. We know the T-25-2 has lost half his hit points. And the Shrek, well, he's fairly healthy. Now, Zin is repositioning himself because, of course, they both enemy tank destroyers know where he is. Although we've got no fear of the enemy Arty firing at us, the thing is we need to reposition ourselves to make sure that they don't get a chance to shoot us. In fact, that Hellcat could have wiped out Zin with just two shots, because the alpha on the Hellcat is 240 and Zin only has 350 hit points in total. He's trying to use all the features of the ground to try and protect him, get close enough to the enemy that he can get shots on them. From this position, he should be able to hit the T-25-2. He doesn't know where the Shrek is, but he's guessing that the Shrek is fairly near the cap. We've got two in the cap at the moment. Chrysler and the Bretagne Panther, the Baguette, have both gone into the cap. So the enemy's probably going to be trying to reset. Well, there's somebody in the cap at the moment on the enemy team. It's gone into our cap. And it's the T-25-2. The Shrek is near our cap area. So it has to be the T-25-2. So he's trying to get a shot on the Shrek. Lining up. Trying to work out where he's going. I think he didn't give enough lead there. The Shrek is engaging our G2. Okay, we line up a shot. That was close. Yeah, that landed right alongside him and tracked him. Get another shot in. No, he's starting to move already. And he managed to fool us there by moving forward just a little and then stopping. And we've capped out. Well, while Sim was keeping focused on the Shrek and trying to stop him from killing our Cheetu, our teammates were capping out all the time, and the enemy T-25-2, well, he tried to cap to end the game, but it was only one on his own, and there was not much he could do from that distance. In fact, the Shrek was left to try and get the resets, so the T-25-2 could win the battle. But it didn't work out well because, of course, while Sim was firing in at the Shrek and the Cheetu was keeping him occupied, our teammates were completing the cap. And that's what they did. It was a second-class tanker for zin1983 in the Crusader SP. He also got a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 11. And he got a Starks medal. Yes, he managed to get at least 2 enemy hits from the enemy during that battle. Survived the battle, and also took at least potentially 2/3 of his hit points in damage, and well, also managed to get at least 2 kills. In fact, he ended up with 3 kills in that game, and his win rate from the game was 2,545. Now, the Starks medal are fairly difficult to get because you have to fulfill a number of conditions, including being alive at the end of the game. And yes, he managed to survive an assault, not just by the Hellcat, but also by that Giro, who was intent to wipe him out. In fact, the Giro did get a hit on him, but it hit the tracks, and so that counts as a blocked shot. If we look at the team score, we can see that he didn't get the highest damage in the game. That actually went to the Chrysler GF, who actually managed to get a Pascucci's medal, a high caliber, and a steel wall in that game, so he was particularly effective, and 3,113 hit points of damage. Second highest damage in the game went to the Shrek, who was still alive at the end. 2,695 went to him. And third highest damage went to ours at SMV CC56 with 2,250, with Zin getting 1,423. Now that means that there were 4 enemy tanks who were ahead of him and 3 on his own team, puts him in 8th place on damage. When it came to kills though, he shared the top spot because the Chrysler GF and Zin both managed to get 3 kills apiece. 2 kills went to the Fox, the Setter, and the T25, 2 on the enemy team, their Hellcat, and one of their tank destroyers. And when it came to base XP, he's in 4th place because the Chrysler managed to get 1,104, the only player to get over 1,000. 825 went to the CC56, 783 went to our Setter, and 734 went to Zin. He fired 21 shots, got 8 direct hits on the enemy, 3 penetrating shots, and 10 splash. Damage of 1,423 hit points, of which 827 were at more than 300 meters. You saw how close he was shooting at that Hellcat. It was right into his side. 3 hits received from the enemy, 2 penetrations, 1 non-penetration, that was from the Giro, and 135 hit points of damage blocked by armor. Damaged 7 of the enemy, killed 3 of them, and he earned a profit of 10,594 credits from that game and 734 base XP. So a good game by Zin shows a lot of players are actually playing the Crusader SP with the stock gun because it does take a lot of skill. As I said, it's fun, but it's very, very dangerous because you have to get very close to the enemy, and that's how Starks medals are earned, by being close to the enemy and still surviving the battle. If you enjoyed both of those replays, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.